From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
And good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey. The time right now is 4:27 here on our Wednesday morning. Let's talk about some of the stories that are making headlines today, starting with right here in Marion County. The election board will be meeting today to determine those vote center plans for the upcoming November election. Now, you may remember this scene. This was back in June for that delayed primary we had here in the state of Indiana. And here in Marion County, they had much fewer voting centers, and that led to some long lines on election day during this pandemic. So they're looking ahead to see how they're going to tackle this come November, and we're going to have more details and break that down for you, what it means for you if you're a voter here in the Indianapolis area coming up. Let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers here in our state. These were reported by the state health department. As of today, we have 841 new cases of COVID-19 in our state, bringing our total number of cases to more than 88,000 since the start of the pandemic back in March here. We also tracked 15 new deaths from COVID-19, bringing the death total to 3,023 in the state of Indiana. We know the 7-day positivity rate has dropped off a little bit. So we'll have all those numbers and what they mean for you coming up here on Good Morning Indiana. I want to take a turn right now to our forecast, and Todd Clausen standing by from home. And man, Todd, yesterday it was hot, it was sticky, really uncomfortable outside, very summer-like. What can we expect for our Wednesday?
We're going to carry that over into today, Lauren, as well as we'll continue to deal with the heat and the humidity. Yesterday, we were able to flare up a couple isolated storms. One was severe down across parts of the Shelbyville area, and then they continued down towards the Greensburg area. I think a little less of a chance in the way of an isolated storm this afternoon in the peak heating of the day. And we're starting off with temperatures in the 60s and 70s this morning. 68 in Logansport, 70 in Bloomington, 73 in Indianapolis. One thing we do have this morning that we did not have the past few mornings, a little bit of patchy fog out there, so be aware of that. But as soon as the sun comes up, we will burn that off very, very quickly, and we will be left with mostly sunny skies today and a high temperature that once again will climb all the way up into the low 90s. But changes are on their way once we get past today. We'll talk about those here throughout the morning on Good Morning Indiana.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Also coming up this morning, we're taking a look at the preps for Hurricane Laura, set to make landfall today down on the Gulf Coast, impacting states like Louisiana and Texas. We're going to be looking at the path of Laura, how people are prepping for this storm in the middle of a pandemic, adding some extra challenges for the folks down there. And Todd will tell us if this storm could impact our weather here in central Indiana later this week. So we'll have that, plus news, weather, and traffic coming up here to start your Wednesday.
From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
Now at 4:30, 2 teenagers are in the hospital, one critical condition after a shooting overnight. We have the very latest on that investigation. A statewide program helping Hoosiers with rent will stop taking applications today. This morning, the details on the deadline and the push some are making to get that program extended. And the Republican National Convention continued last night with remarks from First Lady Melania Trump, the message she has for voters, and what's to come tonight for day 3. But before we get to our top stories today, we want to thank you for joining our team on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey, and Todd Clausen is standing by from home. This morning, Todd, I did have to get gas on my way to work, which always stinks this early in the morning, and what I noticed was it's already pretty warm out there.
Yeah, temperatures are in the 70s here this morning once again in most locations. A couple areas in the 60s, but it's muggy out there, so a very summer-like feel, as you mentioned there, Lauren, as you get going on this Wednesday, third day in a row, we're dealing with these really warm temperatures. The one thing we are dealing with this morning that we really haven't had so far this week in the morning hours, at least, is a little bit of patchy fog. It's not terrible. These visibilities have been fluctuating. You notice just north of Indianapolis as you kind of hug the Boone and Hamilton County line there near the Sheridan area. That's where the fog is the thickest. So just know that there's some out there this morning. A huge problem. We'll keep an eye on it for you and see those visibilities drop a little bit. And if you saw the rain yesterday afternoon, that's where you have the best potential for a little bit of that fog to settle in. 73 in Indy, 74 in Muncie. The storm track today should be a little further to the north and to our south, so I wouldn't worry about rain today, unlike yesterday when we flared up a few isolated storms. Once the sun comes up, It's another hot one out there. Temperatures quickly warm through the 70s into the 80s by 10 a.m. We're pushing 87 degrees by 1 p.m. and we should level off right around 93 degrees again later on this afternoon for the third day in a row, making it an official heat wave here in central Indiana. We'll talk more about the remnants of Laura and the changes in our forecast coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic right now as you're heading out the door this Wednesday morning. I want to take you all the way up to the northwest part of our area. This is I-65 at US 52 in Lebanon. Keep in mind this is an ongoing construction area. Right now we are monitoring the on-ramp closure from US 52 to southbound I-65. They're reconstructing that, and the work is not expected to be complete until the end of October. So this is something you're used to. Just keep that in mind if that is part of your commute this morning. Right now, everything on the interstate, though, traveling northbound and southbound through this area is traveling up to speed. Great news if you're heading out on the roads at this early hour. New from overnight, 2 teens were taken to the hospital after a shooting on Indy's east side. Police at the scene tell WRTV that the victims drove up to a patrol car near East 10th Street and Linwood Avenue around 1:15 this morning. Both had gunshot wounds. A 15-year-old male was taken to the hospital in critical condition, and an 18-year-old male was in stable condition. The victims would not tell the officers where the incident occurred, but detectives believe this happened a couple blocks away near Michigan and Linwood Avenue. If you need help paying for housing, today is the last day you can apply for statewide rental assistance program. The deadline for that program that does not include Marion County is set for tonight at 11:59 p.m. The website to apply is indianahousingnow.org. State Senate Democratic leader Tim Lannon says that he sent a letter to Governor Holcomb asking him to extend the program. If you live in Marion County, there's a different program which you can find at indyrent.org. According to the website, as long as the funds are available, groups of 1,000 applicants at a time will be invited to complete an application for assistance. People will be chosen in the order they appear on the waiting list. Well, many people are having trouble making rent because they're also having trouble finding a job. The city of Indianapolis announced a new effort to help change that. It's called the Rapid Reemployment Response Plan. It's an online resource that Employ Indy and Ascend Indiana created. It provides personalized support to help job seekers navigate the process of applying for a job. That could mean connecting you with job opportunities immediately or connecting you to training.
The process is simple. Visit the landing page and create a login. Answer a few short questions about yourself, and you'll be redirected to the most relevant resources. And there, you'll receive personalized support to help navigate the path to applying for a job.
Well, you can find a link to the site on our website, WRTV.com. You can also find other career, education, and training resources, always at hiringhoosiers.com. COVID-19 cases and deaths continue to increase in the state of Indiana. The State Department of Health reporting 841 new cases of the virus. That's nearly 200 more cases than were confirmed Monday. More than 88,000 total cases have been reported since this pandemic began. 15 new deaths were also reported, bringing the death toll in our state to 3,023. More than 1,010,000 Hoosiers have been tested for that virus so far. The pandemic has put a tremendous strain on families across central Indiana, many of them figuring out how to balance working while helping their kids do that virtual learning. A program at IU is hoping to ease some of the burden. Indiana Kids program is offering tutoring, mentoring, and college readiness to students in 6th through 12th grade. Programs are offered throughout the state at 7 IU campuses. The program has been happening for several years now, and while it's gone mostly virtual because of the coronavirus, their mission has stayed the same.
We think that all students and all families should have access to educational support, emotional support, and so that's really why we do what we do.
Well, in the coming weeks, they plan to expand it to elementary-aged children. We'll have more information about how to enroll your kid in the IU Indiana Kids program. It's in this story. Just go to our app or go to WRTV.com. The time right now is 4:36. When a business suddenly closes, it can leave customers in the lurch, especially if they have gift cards to spend. Studio 2000 Salon and Day Spa closed on August 7th, citing downtown violence and the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. In an email sent to customers, it didn't give any options for consumers who still have gift cards or credits at the spa. Lena Wesco has $200 gift certificates still left to spend at Studio 2000. She reached out to WRTV Investigates for help, so we contacted the company via email and Facebook. We are still waiting to hear back.
I feel like a gift certificate in the grand scheme of everything that's going on in the world, is not a big deal, but I mean, it's personal to me. I feel bad for them. They've been there forever. So, I guess that's why I thought I had time.
Well, the Attorney General's office says it's a good idea, given the COVID-19 climate, to spend the gift cards you have as soon as possible. If a business closes suddenly, you can see if competitors will honor the gift card. If the company is filing for bankruptcy, you can file a claim with the bankruptcy court. You could get your money back that way. Keep your gift cards just in case the business reemerges after the pandemic, and avoid spending a lot on gift certificates at one business. Well, this morning we are officially 69 days away from Election Day here in America, and this afternoon we're expecting to learn how many vote centers will be open here in Marion County for the November election. In the delayed primary held in June, there were only 22 locations on Election Day. That was due to a lack of poll workers. Today, the board will also decide the number of locations of early voting sites. Early in-person voting begins October 6th. You must register to vote by October 5th. Night 2 of the Republican National Convention was filled with tributes to President Trump. First Lady Melania Trump was one of the few speakers to address the COVID-19 pandemic. ABC's Inez de la Cotera is in Washington now with the latest.
On day 2 of the RNC, the First Lady taking center stage.
Almost 4 years ago, we went into Election Day completely underestimated.
Speaking from the White House Rose Garden, Melania Trump was one of the few speakers to address recent racial unrest and the COVID-19 pandemic.
I want to acknowledge the fact that since March, our lives have changed drastically. The invisible enemy, COVID-19, swept across our beautiful country and impacted all of us. My deepest sympathy goes out to everyone who has lost a loved one.
Even with the death toll surpassing 178,000, Larry Kudlow, President Trump's top economic advisor, claimed the administration successfully fought the virus, speaking of it in the past tense.
Then came a once-in-100-year pandemic. It was awful. Health and economic impacts were tragic,
prompting harsh criticism from the Biden campaign, writing in a statement, "Not only did the American people hear no plan for overcoming the pandemic after more than 7 months of utter mismanagement, but the president's chief economic advisor even referred to the coronavirus in the past tense." Secretary of State Mike Pompeo also facing criticism for speaking from Jerusalem during an official visit there, shattering precedents.
I have a big job as Susan's husband and Nick's dad. Their freedom's more secure because President Trump has put his America First vision into action.
The night included remarks from 2 of the president's children, but the RNC also dropped one speaker, Marion Mendoza, at the last minute after she tweeted out an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. And the president made several appearances, taking part in a presidential pardon as well as a naturalization ceremony.
Tonight, it'll be Vice President Pence's turn to speak from Fort McHenry in Baltimore. Inez de la Cotera, ABC News, Washington.
Hamilton County is launching a new effort to combat opioid overdose. Coming up, we'll explain the first in the state program supplying businesses with those life-saving tools. And Hurricane Laura is expected to make landfall in Texas and Louisiana tonight. Still ahead on the latest on this growing storm and the emergency preparations that are underway. Todd.
Yeah, and Lauren, that storm could impact our area as we get towards the end of the week. For today, though, high pressure is firmly in control once again. That means we'll continue to deal with the heat and the humidity across central Indiana. You can see the storm track here is to our north today, going around that area of high pressure. So I think we have a dry day in store for us. Just need to drink plenty of water with those temperatures in the 90s. We'll talk about the forecast in detail for you coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
Welcome back. Hamilton County is launching a new effort to help fight the devastation of drug overdoses. County health departments are partnering to provide overdose boxes to local businesses and hopefully save more lives. The kits include gloves and 2 doses of the nasal spray Narcan. The county says many overdoses happen in restaurants and hotels, and if these businesses are equipped, they can help before emergency crews arrive at the scene. The boxes are free, but those interested must take Narcan class with the Hamilton County Health Department first Hamilton County is the first in the state to make these kits available to businesses. Dr. Anthony Fauci is the nation's foremost infectious disease specialist, and he's back at work after a surgery. He had surgery last week to remove a polyp on his vocal cord. An institute spokesperson says that while Fauci is up and working, he will not have any speaking engagements for 7 to 10 days. Back in April, Fauci said he had influenza A in December and developed tracheitis. He was getting better until the coronavirus put him on a busy schedule of briefings and interviews. The CDC is changing its guidelines on who should be tested for COVID-19 again. The agency is no longer recommending asymptomatic people who've been exposed to COVID get a test. Previously, the CDC said that people in this category should be checked because asymptomatic spread of that virus. The agency did not explain the change, and it has many doctors confused. Some states still have their own rules that recommend people who have been exposed get tested. Hurricane Laura is expected to grow from a Category 1 hurricane to a Category 3 when it makes landfall late tonight. More than 500,000 people have been ordered to evacuate their homes. ABC's Kenneth Moten has the details.
This morning, millions in the path of Hurricane Laura are bracing for landfall.
We don't have the resources to go door to door and pull people out of their homes and have no intention of doing that.
The deadly hurricane is building speed and strength as it moves north, already killing at least 24 people and carving a devastating path through the Caribbean and Cuba. The wind already so strong this home was flipped upside down. Laura is expected to slam the Gulf Coast as a Category 3 storm in less than 24 hours. Coastal areas bracing for up to 13 feet of storm surge.
Two big impacts. That is destructive winds and life-threatening storm surge well inland.
Families from Texas to Louisiana now scrambling to get to safety.
Once it gets past a Category 2 with the surge issues, there's no way I'm going to take that chance.
Nursing homes have been emptying out. Store and businesses are boarding up. Colleges are busing out students.
We urge people to take action sooner than later because, the weather will get worse. The traffic's going to be worse.
Long lines of bumper-to-bumper traffic in Galveston, bringing back memories of the chaotic and deadly evacuation in 2005 before Hurricane Rita, which caused massive gridlock in the heat. The evacuation ended up causing more deaths than the storm itself. Officials in the region are staggering evacuation orders to avoid a repeat of that chaos. But now, new worries for the nation's fourth largest city. Any movement in Laura's track could take it right over Houston, putting nearly 7 million people in the crosshairs. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
All right, and we'll start with Lauren. I'll show you the infrared satellite picture of that storm system in the Gulf of Mexico yesterday when it was a tropical storm. When we were talking at this time in the morning, it was a little disorganized, but you can see a much more symmetrical storm, and you can see the eye of the storm more well-defined as it makes its way through the Gulf of Mexico. When a storm is pretty symmetrical like that, it indicates a pretty healthy storm. There's no wind shear or a change in wind direction kind of shredding it apart as you move up and higher into the atmosphere. As far as the track goes, the wind sustained right now at 105. Expected to strengthen here a little bit this morning. And then the track, as we mentioned with Kenneth, it's going to take it right towards the Louisiana-Texas border as a Category 3 storm, likely to make landfall later on this evening. And then it makes a pretty hard right-hand turn as it makes its way further north through Arkansas and then through extreme southern Indiana. The center of the storm going to pass near Evansville. At that point, though, we're looking at mainly just some rain, a lot of clouds, and maybe some gusty winds across southern sections of central Indiana, but nothing, I don't think that's going to cause any damage. I think our bigger concern is maybe the combination of the moisture from that storm and a cold front providing us with thunderstorms across the area. More on that in just a little bit. Outside right now, beautiful shot from IMS towards downtown Indianapolis. You notice a little bit of haze out there. That's the humidity that's still present, and temperatures are sitting in the 60s and the 70s across the area. As we go throughout the course of the morning hours, our temperatures are going to hold pretty steady until the sun comes up, and then you notice the big jump up to 81 degrees by the time we get to the 10 o'clock hour. But the satellite radar picture is nice and quiet for us here this morning. Yesterday evening, we flared up a few of those isolated storms They have moved now down to the south, and there should not be an issue for us. Highs today will top off in the low 90s across the area, making it a third day in a row of 90-degree temperatures. This evening, 8:25 is a sunset with mostly sunny skies and temperatures in the 80s. Tomorrow is when the change starts to occur. It's probably just a couple degrees cooler. Still the potential maybe to get to 90 degrees. But you notice we bring in the scattered showers and storms across the area. And throughout the day tomorrow, they're just going to be pretty spotty. It's definitely not a washout. You don't need to cancel any plans if you do have them throughout the day tomorrow. And then as we get into Friday and eventually into Saturday, that's when a little more moisture makes its way into the area, and that's when we'll bring in the better chance of seeing the remnants of Laura. So it's mainly Friday night into early Saturday. Temperatures cool off on Saturday behind that storm system. Sunday is looking absolutely terrific, starting off at 57, going up to 80 degrees, and then it remains a little bit below normal next week, Lauren, on Monday and Tuesday with highs right around 80 degrees.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out there on the roads this Wednesday morning. Here's a look from our INDOT traffic camera at I-465. This is a little bit west of Emerson Avenue near the Beech Grove area. You can see traffic's traveling smoothly both eastbound and westbound. No crashes out there right now to slow down your commute. We won't be silent. That was just one of the signs held up by Detroit Lions players after they decided to cancel a team practice yesterday. Instead, they wanted to talk to the media about police brutality following the shooting of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin last weekend. Black was shot several times in the back by police as his 3 young children sat in the car.
We have a platform that we're able to use to not only raise awareness, but to create change. And we decided today that we was going to step forward and we was going to create change. The Detroit Lions organization is going to make a stand that what happened to Jacob Blake is not okay, and we're going to speak out on it.
2 officers have been placed on administrative leave during the investigation into what happened to Blake. He remains in critical condition. More NFL teams are ruling out fans as the season is set to begin next month. No fans will be allowed at the SoFi Stadium. That's the new home of the LA Rams and Chargers until further notice. The venue is allowing Rams fans to purchase cardboard cutouts to fill the stadium instead. Cincinnati Bengals have also announced they will not have fans at their home opener. So we checked in with the Colts to see if they've changed their plans for fans at Lucas Oil Stadium. Right now, they are saying they're continuing with their reduced capacity plan. They announced only 25% capacity back in July, but a Colts spokesperson says the exact number is still being determined. At 4 years old, this boy was a hit. The shot most golfers will never make. We'll show you his incredible hole-in-one coming up just after the break. And Marion County has the most COVID-19 cases in our state. Coming up at 5, we'll take a look at the county's hot spots and the challenges people there are facing. It's 4:52. Stick around. We'll be right back. Tiger Woods, watch out. A 4-year-old boy in West Virginia has hit a hole-in-one, and it was not in putt-putt. Rocco Figueretti has been practicing his tee shots since he was 3 years old, and this week he made a shot all golfers dream of, including our own Todd Clausen. His dad caught the incredible hole-in-one on his phone. Rocco turns around just as surprised as everyone else there, and he runs down to the green in excitement. His dad posted the video on Facebook, writing, quote, "To say I'm proud would be an understatement," end quote. Pretty impressive there, Todd.
It's super impressive. I've been golfing for years, and I haven't even gotten close to hole-in-one.
Look at him there. So cute.
So look at him there going and picking it up. So, all right, save that ball. Take a picture. All right. Look at that swing. There you go. All right, outside right now we're dealing with warm conditions. Temperatures currently in the 70s. We're going back up to 93 later on this afternoon with mostly sunny skies. Still around 90 tomorrow, but storms return. And then cooler weather arrives with some showers and storms Friday into Saturday with the remnants of Laura moving through the area. But Sunday looks great. 4:57, that is the time. The temperature is 73 degrees. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on WRTV. Stay with us. We're back in just a couple minutes.